training since the Villa game?
Yeah.
Finally, you've had some room. I know you gave the guys some days off and stuff in the first week, but first of all, how frustrating was it for you when the injuries were there, the matches were thick and fast, that you couldn't actually train properly, let's say? And have you now been able to up the intensity? Can you just give us any detail about how it's been? Yeah,
look, it's made an enormous difference to us, and it was part of the frustration, because obviously when you're in the midst of doing what we were going through, that period of so many games, and obviously with a small squad, because of our injury situation, we couldn't really train. So you want to rectify things, and the best place to rectify things is on the training track, and we just couldn't do it. You kind of tried to replicate it, but at a really low tempo, which wasn't realistic. Whereas, I think we saw the benefits of that. Like I said, at the Ipswich game, I think that's as fluent as we've been, sort of middle to front third in terms of our football, and it's because we did so much work leading up to it during the week. The players were able to train, and it's not just the training, but then they're also, because we've got players back now, we're not training with the young players from our academy. We're actually training, as a squad, which again means the level's really good. So, like I said, just being able to work on patterns, work on some of our sort of attacking third stuff, our mid to front third stuff, which I think we've struggled with. A lot of that's because of personnel, lack of personnel, but you could already see the benefit of that on the weekend. And again, this is, I guess, after Wednesday we get another week to work on those things. And I know the coaches have loved it, because, like I said, that's where we can help the players. But I think the players have appreciated just being able to work on our game.
So would you say that the intensity in these last sessions has been back at the top level, would you say?
Yeah, not just intensity, but I think the kind of work, the kind of match work we've been able to do, that we've had to sort of steer away from, because we had to protect the players.
Which is kind of small-sided game?
Just our normal sort of attacking patterns that we work on. You try and simulate match conditions so players can find solutions in those areas. You can't do that when you're trying to protect them from a physical load, whereas and also the quality of players we had. So now, like I said, we can work on our patterns, whether that's in attacking sense or defensive sense, in kind of match-like situations, at a match tempo, obviously not for the duration, but which again gives players the opportunity to practice some of the things we talk about.
Have you been tempted to do more? Has it been? Have you sort of had to rein yourself in a little bit?
Yeah. I would love to do some double sessions, but again, I think we've got to be sensible about it, because it has been a balancing of also some rejuvenation for the group that's been through it. So it's kind of, there's two separate groups. There's the groups who are back and really hungry for work and really want to sort of, hit the ground running, and there's the group who have just got to, and I think so far we've got the balance right, where we've given them even this week we gave them a couple of days off before the Ipswich game, but then could do 2 or 3 solid days work. So it's always a little bit of particularly at the moment, a balancing act between the two. But I think even the players they'd much rather come to training and feel like they've had a good session, rather than sort of just not go through the motions, but go out there knowing that, they're going to have to sort of hold things back because there's another game in a day's time.
And of the 3 lads who've got on this 7 to 10 day sort of schedule to return, individually, Van der Ven, Romero, Solanke, what are the chances of any of them being available for the European game?
The first European...
10 days away.
Yeah, the first European game, probably, I'd say outside chance for any 3 of them, but certainly they'll be back training fully by then. And then we've got Bournemouth on the weekend. I reckon much better odds for that. And definitely by the second European game, they should all be available to play. Dom's the only one where we just got to be careful, because he's ahead of schedule. So the reason I don't want to push that is because if it we need to pull our reins in the back on him. But certainly with Romero and Van der Ven, that's the plan at this stage.
And is the international break part of your thinking there? Because if they're back and then they go away, then you sort of lose control of them.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, so we've got a little window now where hopefully we can get something into them, and we've still got, like I said, 2 European games. I think 3 league games between now and the international break. So I really want them up and running by then.
Tom?
And you can look at statistics in football in a lot of ways. Some are more meaningful than others. Your goal difference this season is the same as City. You actually scored 1 more goal. I mean, how much should we read into this, and how much, I guess, is it tormenting you looking at that?
Yeah.
It's pretty bizarre.
It is, yeah. I've had it once before. Yokohama, I think my first year. I think we finished, I don't know, 13th, 14th, or maybe even lower. And we were the second highest goal scorers in the league. And on the one hand, it gives you encouragement because you're going, okay, there is something there. But the other bit is, the frustrating bit because you think, we're probably, maybe 6-7 points off being in a really decent position, and you kind of kick yourself when you're thinking of some of the games we've dropped. And I think that's where the anomaly lies. I think the underlying statistics show that we should be higher up, but we're not, and that's the reality of it. And I think it's because, like I said, we've in some games we've just shot ourselves in the foot in terms of moments where we've let games get away from us. And again, balanced against the fact that obviously the extreme situation we're in terms of the injuries. But I always see those things as more encouraging than not, I think, because, when you're going through a tough spot and you're not in the place you want to be, you're looking for signs, and is there anything there that shows that we're on the right track? And I think I've always felt goal difference is a good indicator. Goal scored, I think, is a good indicator. Usually the teams that score most amount of goals are usually in a decent position on the ladder because it's the hardest thing to do. So, the underlying stuff is there, but I think it's been masked by the fact that, like I said, we're probably 2 or 3 games away from being where we should be. And when I think about some of the games we've dropped, that's a little bit self-inflicted.
And speaking about the guys who've scored goals, obviously you share them around, but centre forward is a key position. You mentioned about Haaland being still the world's best. Liam done that last week as a real handful. Matisse Tell's only just got here, so not judging him already.
Please don't judge him, mate. Please.
Not on his goal.
Please, yeah.
Physically playing centre forward with his hold-up play.
Yeah.
When you look at, obviously, a Haaland, a Dominic Solanke, they're very sort of powerful and obviously very used to the Premier League. Do you see that as something that I know he can play in different positions across the 3, but do you see it as something that is just part of the adaptation, or does he need to beef up a bit?
No, I don't think he's going to be that kind of striker, I think, but that doesn't mean he can't be a really good central striker. There are different types, and look, I just think with Matty and, again, I'm not on social media, but I can just imagine the comments about him, but he's 19 years old. He hadn't played a lot. We've thrown him in and kept him in there because I want to build up his fitness. But if anyone was expecting him as a 19-year-old to come in and take the Premier League by storm, by scoring multiple goals, it's not realistic. It just can't happen. So what we're trying to do is work with him. Like I said, he needs as much as anything else to get his physical fitness up because he hasn't played a lot of football. But at 19, I see really outstanding attributes in him that I think he could be a really good number 9. He can play wide as well. You're right, but he's not going. He's not going to be like a Dom or a Delap. He's a different type. But looking at him at training, his movements are becoming a little bit more fluent. He's getting used to sort of the way we play. He's getting used to the level of competition. But what I do love about him is he's a hard worker. Like, you watch him in games, he's closing the people down, and he's doing the things that we need him to do at the moment to help us. He may not be getting the goals and the accolades, but he's certainly contributing to kind of the way we want to play, and that's the most important thing. But he's got so much growth in him, and I'm sure you'll see that.
Tom?
Sonny looks like he's been almost back to his best last couple of games. He's 33 this summer. How long do you think he can go on for?
Well, no idea, but I think again, Sonny's benefited from the fact that he's been able to have a break between games, and we saw that on the weekend. We being able to recover from one game to another and having a full week to get his energy back, energy levels back. He was outstanding, particularly in the first half, and he was great in the game before. So, you know, I mean, I think, you know, you never want to sort of try and predict with players like Sonny how long it'll go for, because, you know, they keep those kind of players, I think, always defy whatever odds there are, because they're the way they conduct themselves, the way they look after themselves, the levels. You know, still, even this year, is, you know, a difficult year as it has been for us, I think his numbers still stack up. You know, you weigh him up against any winger in the league, he's still going to be top 5. He's probably been top 5 in the 9-10 years he's been. Not many would rank with Sonny in terms of output on a consistent basis from his position. Maybe top 10% of players in the Premier League in his position. So they're the facts, and he's continuing to do that. So if he's continuing to do that, then, you know, there's nothing to say that he should slow down.
Talk about De Bruyne and maybe being sort of finished at City. You know, how long do you think we sort of write these players in their 30s and off a little bit too soon?
Oh, look, it depends. But I do think that those kind of things are kind of, you know, you should sort of judge on an individual basis. There's a reason these players are elite and have maintained their levels for such a long time. The end comes for everyone, we know that. You know, every player at some point needs to. I've always found with the best ones, yeah, they dictate it themselves. They know themselves when the time's right.
In what way would they sort of stop enjoying themselves?
No, they understand themselves what they can and can't do anymore, and they never invariably, you know, make decisions that, you know, get the most out of their career.
How do you find that balance? Because Pep's talked a little bit about sort of restarting City again. It's similar sort of here, I guess, maybe you're almost a bit further ahead in terms of the youngsters, and how do you keep that balance of experience but also very...
Yeah, that's always the challenge, and sometimes it's harder, you know, when a team is successful. And that's why it's extraordinary what City have done, what Pep's done, that he's maintained those levels for so long. Because when you are successful, there isn't that real need or urgency to change anything, even if you feel like you need to, or, you know, if you look at players and go, oh, you know, maybe it's time for a change. But for players playing well and you're winning things, then, you know, it's very hard to change. Whereas when things kind of almost bottom out, you go, well, we have to change. There's no other, you know, there's no other alternative here. We have to change. We have to change the group. We have to change the players. We have to change a number of things. So it's a challenge, you know, either way.
I'll let me finish with you, please.
In terms of Son, like, we hear a lot about players who are getting, when they get older, they change their position, their roles change. Do you see elements of his game that suggest that in 3-4 seasons' time he could perform a different role to what he has?
No, not really, because I think the attributes he has, you know, I guess the thing that people always look at kind of is when he's playing his position is speed, you know, and kind of, you know, players who, you know, have speed as kind of their main attribute, that goes and they kind of drift into other areas. I don't think that's Sonny's kind of main attribute. I think his ability to beat players in tight areas, even without speed, is elite. His finishing, I think, is elite. When you're talking, again, you know, you're talking about a winger who's scored so many goals. It's a hard position to score goals regularly from. So I don't think that's you know, that's going to ever deteriorate to a situation where he's playing at centre half. No, I think he'll always be an attacking player, and I think he'll always, you know, I think out wide is obviously, I mean, we've played him down the middle, but that's needs based, and he's always done a great job for us. But I think out wide is you know, where he's more comfortable. But that can change where he plays in a team where he can drift more. You know, with us it's a bit more fixed. But you know, if at the age of 40 he wants to keep playing and he's in another club or he's here and they change the way he plays as a wide player, that can happen. But I still think he's always going to be a wide player.
You know, he's already up to his highest assists level.
Most overrated statistic, except for Sonny. Sonny's are all good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.